So a couple of weeks ago, Don Lemon said that God doesn't judge. The great and powerful and wise and brilliant Don Lemon, anchor of CNN, host of whatever CNN show, said that God does not judge. And I wanted to weigh in on this statement. So, welcome everybody to this week's Tuesday treesPhilosophies. This is where I go deeper on my thoughts of philosophy, culture, my trippy thoughts and ideas, all that fun stuff. People always told me I go too deep. Well, I go deeper, baby. Anyways, let's get into it. So, again, as I said, the great and powerful Don Lemon, the wisest among us, the elite among us, told a couple weeks ago, said that God does not judge. God's not about judging. Now, before I get into it, let me just play you the clip in question so you guys are all caught up and know what I'm talking about.
That's wrong. And I think that the Catholic Church and many other churches really need to re-examine themselves and their teachings. God is not about hindering people or even judging people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said the most segregated place on earth, time on earth, was 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So I think that religion and the pew keeps us from there are barriers from people actually getting to know each other. So I would say to the Pope and the Vatican and all Christians or Catholics, go out and meet people and try to understand people and do what the Bible and what Jesus actually said if you believe in Jesus, and that is to love your fellow man and judge not lest ye be not judged. So,
okay, so as you can see, Don Lemon says that God doesn't judge. And he goes on to give this like hippie idea of what Christ is all about. He's all about love and peace and loving your neighbor and all that good stuff. And it's pretty funny because it really showcases this idea of God, of Jesus as this like hippy dippy dude. He's all about like peace and love, man, and it's all good, dude. And like, let's just love each other, man, and like hug it out. And it just really shows a lack of understanding and this really peripheral, cursory look at the Bible as opposed to looking at it wholeheartedly and looking at all the different components and elements that go into it. Because if you looked at Christ as this happy-go-lucky, loving dude, then you would neglect the other sides of him, such as the anger and wrath that Christ showed, which he did. He did show that, for example, in the story that talks about how he literally was flipping tables at the synagogues and barring people from being able to sell goods in the synagogues because he was pissed off. This is my Lord's house. How dare you sell your goods here? That's not what we do here, right? So if you were to look at Christ as this loving, happy-go-lucky dude, then you would neglect this other side of him where he showed his wrath. He showed his anger in a really physical way. Again, he was physically barring people from entering the synagogues that were going to be engaging in these types of things, in these types of selling and trading of goods, because, hey, that's not the place to do this. So when people say, oh, God doesn't judge, well, it really comes from this kind of confirmation bias look at the Bible where they try to look at different bits and pieces that maybe confirm what they have to say without really looking at the Bible wholeheartedly. So I wanted to essentially highlight a few texts within the Bible, some verses that directly talk about how God does judge others and how judgment is a factor of God. And these are some scriptures that I highlighted in Psalms. And I'll start off with Psalm 7 verse 6. So Psalm 7 verse 6, it says, "Arise, O Lord, in your anger, rise up against the rage of my enemies. Awake, my God, decree justice. Let the assembled peoples gather around you, rule over them from on high. Let the Lord judge the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, according to my integrity, O Most High, O righteous God, who searches minds and hearts. Bring to an end the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure." God is a righteous judge. That's one example. Let's go into the second example. Psalm 9, verse 3. My enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before you. For you have upheld my right and my cause. You have sat on your throne, judging righteously. You have rebuked the nations and destroyed the wicked. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. Endless ruin has overtaken the enemy. You have uprooted their cities. Even the memory of them has perished. The Lord reigns forever. He has established his throne for judgment. He will judge the world in righteousness. He will govern the peoples with justice. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Example number 2, speaking of the judgment of the Lord, the judgment of God. And I'll go into a third example. This is Psalm 11, verse 4. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observes the sons of men. His eyes examine them. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked and those who love violence, his soul hates. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals and burning sulfur. A scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. Upright men will see his face. Again, another example of the Lord judging. So I think it's important to understand how when the Bible speaks of judgment, it speaks of the Lord judging. It speaks of God judging, and how it is not the place for man to judge. I think this is where Don Lemon got things a bit twisted. See, in the Bible, it says that the Lord judges. That's 100% undeniable. I just read you 3 examples of how God judges, and there's many, many more. Those are just 3 that I highlighted within freaking 3 pages, right? I'm sure you could find many more than that, and there do exist many more. However, the point is that it is not for man to judge. It is for God to judge. Again, it is not for people to judge, because we ourselves are mortal beings. We are sinners ourselves. So who are we to judge others? Others may be going through their own set of demons. They might be battling with their own set of circumstances that we have no idea what they've been through. We have no idea what their individual path is. We don't know what their internal struggle is. So it is not our place to judge. However, it is for God to judge. We as mortals are sinners. Therefore, it is not for us to judge others. That's why you have the story in the Bible where Christ is with Mary Magdalene, Mary the prostitute. And what happens is that she's about to be stoned to death by a horde of people that are, oh, she's a prostitute, this and that, and they're about to literally kill her. And Christ says, let the one without sin be the first to cast his stone. Again, let the one who is without sin be the first to cast his stone. And this was to acknowledge this very point that I just made, that people, we are all sinners. We all have our baggage. We all on a daily basis have sin. So it is not the place for us as sinners to judge others, right? So that is the more fundamental truth. It is not for people to judge others, because we're all filled with that. Rather, it is for God. It is for God, for when it comes our time, if you do believe in that, to stand in front of the Lord so that he may judge us. Again, he said, let the first who is without sin be the one to cast his stone. And what was the point? The point was that none of you are pure. How dare you judge this woman when you yourself are full with sin? That's the point, Don Lemon, that you should be taking. It's not about God doesn't judge. No, God judges. There's many more examples within the Bible about God judging others. And it is for us people to be humble. It is for us to have humility and understand that we should not judge others, because we are ourselves flawed. Everybody's flawed. Nobody's perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. Sorry, if you think you are, you're not. It is what it is. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We are all sinners. We are all filled with that within us. So I'd like to encourage you guys to not only listen to me, what Don Lemon's saying, or what others say, but read the Bible for yourself. Read the book ultimately for yourself. I'm not some expert. I'm not some wise expositor of the truths of the Bible. I just read it and try to understand it for myself. And I encourage you guys as well. Don't take my word. Don't take Don Lemon's word. Don't take others' word. Ultimately, the word comes from the Bible. So I encourage you to read. those verses. Again, it's Psalm 7, Psalm 9, Psalm 11, talk about judgment. And you know what? If you have other examples of God and his judgment and how it's written within the Bible, please leave them in the comments and let's get a discussion going, because those are just 3 examples, but there's many, many more of that. So if you enjoyed that video, guys, please give a thumbs up, hit that subscribe. And again, leave some comments for other verses within the Bible that talk about judgment, because there's many, many more. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. That was Tuesday Trees Philosophies.